Good morning, everyone. Once again, here we are Wednesday morning, and we get our opportunity to get our dose of God's Word to get our day started off right. Hey, this morning I want to look at a passage of some teaching that Jesus does over in the Gospel of John. In John's Gospel, in the 5th chapter, he talks about honoring the Son as we honor the Father. He talks about judgment, and there's some really good teachings in this that is so important for each of us. Let's look at some of these things. John chapter 5, we'll start in verse 22. I want to read down through this and then go back and hit on a couple of things real quick. John chapter 5, verse 22, it says, "For the Father judges no one, but has committed all judgment to the Son, that all should honor the Son, just as they honor the Father. He who does not honor the Son does not honor the Father who sent him. Most assuredly I say to you, he who hears my word and believes in him who sent me has everlasting life, and shall not come into judgment, but is passed from death into life. Most assuredly I say to you, the hour is coming, and now is, when the dead will hear the voice of the Son of God, and those who hear will live. For as the Father has life in himself, so he has granted the Son to have life in himself, and has given him authority to execute judgment also, because he is the Son of Man. Do not marvel at this, for the hour is coming in which all who are in the graves will hear his voice, and come forth those who have done good to the resurrection of life, and those who have done evil to the resurrection of condemnation. I can of myself do nothing. As I hear, I judge, and my judgment is righteous, because I do not seek my own will, but the will of the Father who sent me." Here throughout this text, Jesus is putting the emphasis on is that we have to honor him. We have to believe in him. Now, what does that mean? Well, what that means very simply is this, is we have to obey him. We have to believe what he says. Not our interpretation of what he says, not our perception of what he says, but what he says. And we have to honor him by believing in him, submitting to him, obeying him, living our life according to his teaching. We have to honor him who he is. And within this text, he says that he is the judge, and he is also the executioner. So we need to honor Jesus as those things. You just think about, in our life. Say we were facing execution. Maybe we were facing, jail time or something, and we began to beg and plead with that executioner or with that judge. Oh, give me another chance. Give me another chance. Well, that's the idea of what we need to understand of who Jesus is. Honoring him, respecting him, understanding just exactly who he is. Because, and here's a very powerful point that I want us to think about this morning, is he says in verse 28, 29, there's going to be a resurrection. Or those that are in the grave, when they hear the voice of Christ, they're going to come forth. And within this, there's two types of resurrection. Resurrection of the just and resurrection of condemnation. But in verse 30, there's a phrase in here that I think is extremely important for us to really consider. He says in verse 30, I'm going to read this again. He says, I can of myself do nothing. In other words, he don't get his way. Think about that. I can of myself do nothing. Jesus doesn't do things his way. But wait a minute. Don't we do just the opposite? And things concerning the Father and things concerning God, don't we do things our way? I think that's important. We overlook that. Jesus said, I don't do it my way. I do it the Father's way. Let's go on. As I hear, I judge. And my judgment is righteous, because I do not seek my own will. We need to understand this just crystal clear. Jesus says, I don't do it my way, and I don't seek my own will. But yet, for some reason, here we are, mankind, mainstream Christianity, we do it our way, and we seek our own will. But folks will say, no, I don't. But really, we do. All too many times. Is that maybe we can be shown something in the Bible? Well, I just don't believe that. Well, if it's in God's Word, you can read it, in red letters, so to speak. If you can see it where it's a quotation from God, and then turn around and say, well, I just don't believe that, well, then we're truly not seeking the Father's will. We're really seeking our will. You see the point? And this is a very powerful point that we need to understand. Jesus says, I don't seek my own will. I seek the will of the Father who sent me. We need to truly seek the will of Christ. Why? Because He is judge, jury, and executioner. We need to seek the will of Christ because of who He is, and we need to honor Him as such. And only by doing that will we pass from judgment into life. And so there's your dose of God's Word this morning. And I hope it'll do you some good. And it's a point that is so easily overlooked and misconstrued in mainstream Christianity in the religious world today, is that here we are doing just the opposite of what Christ did. We're seeking our will, and we are doing things on our terms. Jesus said, and here we have, Jesus said, I didn't even do that. Just to kind of make the illustration. Jesus didn't even do that. But yet, that's what we do when you really get down to the nuts and the bolts of things. I hope this will get your wheels turning. I hope it'll help you, bring you into an alignment of the truth of God's Word, because it is good medicine for each and every one of us. Hey, I hope you all have a great day. Lord willing, we'll get back tomorrow and get another dose of God's Word to get our day started off right. Y'all have a great day. We'll see you then.